G'day everybody, my name is Elliot Waters and you're listening to the Dysregulator Podcast. As always, thank you for tuning in. If you're enjoying the show, feel free to like, subscribe, give the show a great rating. It's good for the algorithm and you can share it around with your mates. And you can follow me on Instagram at elliot.t.waters and you can also follow the show now on Facebook. So let's do a little check-in of what's been happening now. If you've been keeping up with my episode output, you would know that there's been a bit of a story developing. It's me trying to get off these medications. And this story is ever evolving, but at the same time, it hasn't got to the point where anything is actually being done yet. So there was the episode I did, the medication plea episode. That was sort of the one that kicked it off. And that's when, I thought to myself, right, let's try and do something a bit different with the whole medication thing. That's sort of when it kicked off. There's the episode where I'm at the Mater Hospital out the front, back to the Mater, and it is me out the front just before I walk in, basically explaining how desperate I'm getting. And then there was the most recent episode, the discharge papers from that visit to the hospital. So it's been this evolving story and it's still evolving. Now there was also, I've done episodes, I think, on some of the referrals from my GP that have been sent to places like ISMHU and other extended stay wards. We've got more of them here today to read out because, as I said, this situation is evolving, but it's not really headed in a direction that has me very confident. And that's pretty... I'm getting a bit jack of it. I'm getting over it. And as you'll see, or as you'll hear in these letters from my GP, things have gone up a gear big time because I'm not getting the results I'm looking for. In other words, the system is not helping me. And the system, I think, needs to help me because it's the system that put me on all these medications. And I want to do a career move back to potentially transport, and I can't have all these medications floating around because employers will just go, nah, too high risk, see you later. And I'm not even sure that these medications are doing that much anyway because I'm still so anxious. Like my anxiety is still horrendous and I have these depressive slumps and I'm just, it's like if I'm on 7 or 8 medications, all for psychoactive reasons, I don't expect that I should be feeling that bad. Don't get me wrong, I'm a complex case. I have treatment-resistant disorders, for sure, refractory anxiety, it's all there. I get that, and I also know that, we can't shoot too high because that's the way things are. But at the same time, for so many medications with so many potential side effects and side effects that I am getting, I would expect better. So that's why I want to do this reset, see what the new baseline is for Elliot as a 34-year-old, and then go from there. And it may end up, I'm rehashing a little bit of what I've seen in previous episodes, but I'm sort of doing it for my own benefit here too, because it may happen that I get put back on some of these medications. And, potentially, I hope not, but potentially we might go back to baseline and go, holy dooly, I'm screwed. Those medications were actually doing a lot. I didn't realize how bad things really were. I don't know. That's a possibility as well. But the thing is, I can't find this out. I can't answer these questions unless the system helps me. And the system is not helping me. And as long as the system is not doing its thing for me, I'm getting more and more agitated and this angry sort of depression. It's not like, it's not melancholic. Like I'm not crying, for example, from sadness. That's not the sort of depression I'm feeling. It's this anger and agitation. And it's really feeding into my BPD as well. Let me tell you, my BPD demon that's within, and I don't like saying demon because I don't want to demonize the disorder, but at the same time, it's the way I sort of, conceptualize it in my mind, I suppose. But this entity, this BPD entity lives within, and I'm very good, thankfully, at keeping it restrained. But the thing is, the longer that I don't get help, the more I'm thinking maybe it's time to let the BPD demon do its thing, because it is very good at banging on walls, being a squeaky wheel that gets the grease, that sort of stuff. And to be honest, I've been told by friends and friends that work in the mental health space that, if you want things to happen, Elliot, you got to really up the ante because there's just so much mental despair out there at the moment, and the New South Wales public health system is crippled, especially the mental health system is crippled. I've done an episode on that if you want to go back and have a look. So it's really hard jockeying for positions here, and it's hard because I don't advocate very well for myself, so I like to downplay things. But it's at the point now where I've got friends saying, mate, you need to do something drastic or, because they're not listening. And even my GP is sort of, well, no, he certainly does not agree with the potential for, I don't know, some sort of angry outburst, I guess. But at the same time, he gets it. He's like, yeah, I get it. And it's going to get to the point where this isn't me in control in the sense that, it is me in control, but it's me in control from a position of not getting the help, and then, my mental illnesses may take over and do their thing. And, organically, you could say this could escalate. And I think it will. It already sort of has. It already has, because I'm very angry and I'm very frustrated because I just want help. I just want some help because I also feel that I can do more in the community and more for others if I'm coming from a healthy headspace. That's the key. So I feel like there's a lot riding on this, and I don't know, I feel like I've been on this merry-go-round since who knows when, for years, decades, this mental health thing. Like every day is just battle. Every day is a battle, make no mistake. I feel at this point with all the different admissions, all the medications we've trialed and therapies and all this sort of stuff, all the money that I've spent, that I don't know if deserving is the word, if I deserve the help, but I feel like I've done enough that I should be getting the help that I need. You know what I mean? Especially in a great, Australia, thank God, is we're a wealthy country and these services are available. And although the New South Wales mental health system is crippled at the moment because of the state government, but, I'm not going into that. I'll just get too angry. But, like the expectation I thought in this country was that if you needed this sort of help that posed potential danger to oneself or the community, well then, that's what the public system will do. But they haven't been doing it. So, yeah, I don't know. It's getting difficult. It's getting difficult because, like I said, I'm not very good at advocating. And often when it comes to, not this sort of stuff, I guess, but other things, I'll be too anxious to engage with something, say, and then the pressure will build and build and build. And eventually, this was my whole degree in psychology. This is how I did my degree. I would just put everything off, downplay everything. And then all of a sudden, the stress and the anxiety would be so great that it went from making me in freeze mode, turning me into fight mode, and then getting stuff done. I don't want to go into fight mode to advocate for myself for this because I don't know if that's going to end well. And when I say end well, I mean like I'll do something, not anything drastic, don't worry. Like I'm not alluding to, I did say harm to the community there, but that's the criteria that they work on. I'm not saying that I'm doing that. But now I forget what I was saying. Jeez, that ADHD, don't you love it? This happens does this happen every episode where I get like halfway through and I forget what the hell I'm talking about? I don't know. Anyway, let me sum up that point, which is probably what I was trying to do anyway. I don't know really what to do. Like, how many referrals do I need to send off? Like, I'm a willing patient. I'll do anything. I've said this. I'll go to Morisset, the forensic ward with the the criminally insane. I'll go there to get off these medications. I'll do it because I think it's worth it. But I need someone to get in my corner from the system to really help me be able to do this. I don't know why it's so hard. They're the ones that put me on all these medications. Like, come on, don't you have some sort of duty of care? It's hard though, because then straight away I say that and I think my inner critic says, yeah, well, there's a lot of other people that need help too. Stop being, I'm not greedy, I suppose, but I don't know, like I need help too. And Surely it's about time that help comes. This has been going on for so long. Like, it should have been sorted 15 years ago, and it wasn't. And now it's just grown, again, not looking at things properly, pushing it aside, and the problem just gets bigger and bigger and bigger while I'm not looking at it, and then it blows. And my mental health and looking after my mental health has been very much like that. But I'm at the point now where I'm not putting it off. I'm looking at it directly. Let's go. I'm willing to do whatever. I just need someone to come along on the ride with me from the mental health system and help me get off these medications. Anyway, I'm rambling so much. I'm so sorry. That intro was meant to take 2 minutes and we're up to 10 minutes. So if you're still sticking with me, thank you. I appreciate it. Let's now get into what I really wanted to talk about on this episode, which is 2 letters from my GP. Both addressed to Bloomfield Hospital in Orange in central New South Wales, mental health, drug and alcohol hospital. This is the extended stay. So remember ISMHU, I talk about these letters went to ISMHU as well, but they are addressed to Bloomfield primarily. ISMHU, remember, intermediate stay, you do 6 weeks, but I'm thinking with the complexities of my mental health presentation, with all the disorders that I've been given, or not been given, but have been labelled with and have to live with, and all the medications, and this whole story's massive. It's bigger than Ben-Hur. My doctor and I are not convinced that 6 weeks would be enough to achieve what I'm wanting to achieve, which is why we've been looking at Bloomfield. In New South Wales, Bloomfield, as far as I can tell, is the only real sort of extended stay ward that's not forensic or for schizophrenia and psychosis. That I think there are people there that suffer from that as well, but it's not a ward like Morisset that's specifically for those other points. So Bloomfield's sort of the go. Orange in winter, it's winter right now, of course, in Australia. Orange, the city of Orange in winter in the central west of New South Wales is very, very cold. I'm talking snowing and stuff, and I'm willing to go there barefoot. I'll walk there if I have to. I just need them to give me a bed. Anyway, so let's have a look at the letters from my GP. I have changed some of the words around a little bit because I don't want it to be, I don't know. I read out all these letters and stuff, and I don't really ask for permission, and I probably should, even though they're my letters though and they're about me. Anyway, who cares? Whatever. This is the first one. This is how it goes. Dear psychiatrist, I'm writing again. Yes, you are again. As GP for Elliot Waters, aged 34 years, for consideration of admission to your service, that's Bloomfield, to help manage his quite severe anxiety that has been long-standing and chronic. I referred Elliot to your service in April this year, but he was told that because he lived out of the area for Bloomfield, Newcastle's a couple of hours drive from Bloomfield, Orange, there were funding issues that meant he couldn't be accepted. You might remember Hunter New England Health, where I am situated. Didn't really want to try and pursue me going to Bloomfield because they would have to pay for it, which I can't believe that's a reason you wouldn't do it. I pay taxes. Like, where are you spending the money if it's not going to people like me? Anyway, so referred to Elliot, there were funding issues that meant he couldn't be accepted. This has fed Elliot's inner critic, reinforcing the idea that he is not worth it. I include a copy of the original referral to your service. I'm writing again in the hope that you might be able to reconsider the possibility of admission, as I feel his situation of mental health is becoming quite desperate. He reported to me today that increasingly he's beginning to feel that the only way he will be heard and listened to is if he threatens himself or others. In his words, the noisy wheel gets the grease. I have known Elliot for several years now. He has a great doctor. Thank goodness he's in my corner. For several years now, and I honestly don't believe he's been manipulative. Definitely not. He's just at the end of his tether and he's quite desperate to get help. Unfortunately, his financial situation means that he can't afford care in the private system currently. Anyone out there who's listening who might have a spare couple of $1,000, if you want to send it my way, talk to me on Instagram. We'll get that sorted. If you want to sponsor the show, though, please, somebody. That'd be great. Anyway, Elliot would like an admission to facilitate coming off caffeine, which he uses to improve energy in order to get things done and to achieve. He is aware that it may be contributing to his racing thoughts and anxiety, but can't stop the drive that he has to achieve and do more. Again, his inner critic voice. He would like to find the right medications for him, and is aware that maybe no medications would be better. However, he doesn't feel that he would be able to achieve this, that is tapering off the medications, in the community. No way. I tend to agree with him. Thank you, Doc. Firstly, his inner critic voice is very, very strong and hypercritical. Secondly, he lives with his parents and he has issues with this as he believes he is not achieving enough and should be living away from his parents' home. That's true. As mentioned, I hope you're able to review this referral and reconsider whether you might be able to accept him into your service. I really hope you're able to help him. And then the current medications are listed. Next is another referral letter. This one's got quite a bit of detail to it as well. I've got to thank my GP. He actually wrote these letters on Friday night. While everyone I wasn't, but while everyone's out partying, he was writing these letters to these psychiatric wards for me, and I really, really appreciate it. And here's the second one. Dear psychiatrist, thank you for seeing Elliot Waters, aged 34 years of age, for consideration of earlier admission to ISMHU/Bloomfield. I referred Elliot in April this year, and he's still waiting for a place to become available. I include a copy of the previous email. I would like to highlight the escalating issues that Elliot is experiencing. He continues to have significant anxiety and a lot of negative self-talk from his inner critic that keeps telling him he needs to keep achieving more and that he's just not worth it. Elliot cannot shut this voice up nor ignore it, and it is proving very challenging for him. Elliot is extremely help-seeking but can't afford to fund care in the private system. He has had various diagnoses in the past. He's had various antidepressants and other medications in the past also. None have seemed to help too much. During his last admission, he was put on clomipramine, but he has to take 10 daily. Yes, 10 daily of clomipramine, which is actually over the max dose, but yeah, I'm special. I can handle it, feeding him. I don't know. Anyway, it's not doing enough. Okay, he consumes too much caffeine, but doesn't feel able to stop consuming this. He has caffeine to help keep himself awake and alert enough to do all the things that he needs to do, in brackets such as go to work, but also to appeal to the inner critic that tells him he needs to be doing more. Elliot has self-presented several times to the emergency department requesting an inpatient admission, but keeps being told it's not the right place for him. He inquired about a longer-term admission to Bloomfield in Orange, but was told that he was out of the area and the Hunter service would have to pay for him. Big deal. Pay for me. The implication was that they didn't want to pay for this, and therefore this fed his inner critic's opinion that he wasn't worth it. Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks a lot. He would really like an admission to ISMHU/Bloomfield. He would like to stop using caffeine and to come off his medications if possible, but doesn't feel he would be able to do this in the community. He currently lives with his parents due to financial concerns, and this is not an environment that is positive for him because his inner critic keeps telling him he should be living on his own. He has many other social supports, but struggles to connect with them because of his anxiety and other concerns. Of concern to myself is that I feel he's reaching the end of his tether and considering resorting to desperate measures to get himself heard, seen, and helped. He's increasingly of the belief that the only way he will get help is if he starts to threaten others. Yeah, he doesn't want to do this, but he's so desperate for help, he is beginning to think that this is the only way he'll achieve it. I'll just interject quickly there. I have no plans on hurting anybody. I just want to make that very, very, very clear. I don't have plans to hurt myself either. What we're saying here is that it appears to work the system to get some actual help. These are the things you got to do, or at least these are the things you got to threaten to do. So don't worry. There is no concern that I can tell at all whatsoever, even in my most agitated states. This isn't about other people. I don't want to hurt other people. This isn't, the world's done me wrong and I hate everybody and you's all, it's not that. It's just the world's done me wrong. No individuals itself. It's just, I sort of feel it's almost up to luck. I don't know, like I don't feel any anger towards anybody else. I don't feel any anger towards myself either. I used to when I was younger, but I certainly don't now. And that is because I actually quite like the person who I am, and I'm starting to believe that I am a good person, and I should be, I should be a functioning part of the community, because I've got a lot to add. And that's been that way of thinking, that positive way of thinking has come through therapy, which is great, which is really good, because this would be so much harder if I was still against the self, saying I'm the loser, I do things wrong. I still think that, don't get me wrong, but I push back against it a lot better now. But if I didn't have that pushback and this was going on, I'd say these letters wouldn't be written because I wouldn't have bothered going to the doctors to try and get help and really push this topic, this sort of subject area, because I wouldn't have thought it was worth it, because what's the point? Nothing works anyway and I don't deserve it anyway. So, so that's my view on that. So the fact that I'm, more, not comfortable, but comfortable with who I am and believe that I'm a good person that deserves good things. This is why these letters have been written, because I am pushing a lot harder than I ever have before for this help. It's just so frustrating that I'm pushing harder than ever, and it is harder than ever to get the help. I don't know what's going on. All right, let me finish this letter because I'm babbling on. He doesn't have any current plan or intent to act, but as a young male with chronic suicidal thoughts, and the constant thoughts that things are hopeless, I'm sure you'll agree this is the classic high-risk scenario. I have known Elliot for many years, and I honestly don't believe he's stating this to be manipulative. He is just really at the end of his tether and desperate for some help. I agree that managing this in the community would be very challenging and difficult for him, and absolutely support I absolutely support an admission to help. I hope you might be able to fit him in soon. Thank you, doctor. So those letters are pretty heavy. They're pretty heavy. And some of it you read between the lines and it's like, oh, there's some heavy stuff there. And then there's other bits that are it's just stated. And it's like, man, this is getting serious. And it is getting serious. It is getting serious, and I'm taking this very seriously. And I just want someone else to take it seriously that's got some credentials like being a doctor, and then we can take it seriously together and get this seriously finished, fix everything, and then I can proceed in life. That's all I want. That's all I want. Why is this so difficult? It's really, really annoying me. So anyway, there's the two letters from my GP that were written, today's Wednesday, Thursday, so a week ago. And as of yet, I've heard nothing from either ISMHU or Bloomfield. This is what's also hard though, because there's this expectation that you as the patient will ring these facilities and check up about the referral and say, yep, I'm keen to come in, and then, they grab your referral, whatever. Like you guys who have been listening to this show for a while would know, phone calls and Elliot do not agree. I have this phobia of phone calls. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. He's so anxiety provoking. No idea why. I don't know why. I'm always constantly scared that there's going to be some really bad negative result on the other end of the line. It doesn't make sense. I don't know where this has come from, but it's been like this for probably forever, probably since I got a mobile phone. I don't know. But phone calls are really, really difficult. But the expectation is that I will make these phone calls, and that's becoming a real sticking point because I still haven't made those phone calls. I've called ISMHU already. You may remember earlier episodes I've spoken about calling ISMHU. I've had a chat with the nurse unit manager there that I remember from my time there. I did that, but that took so much energy and so much mental fortitude to do. It's a big ask for me to do this again. So I'm trying to get into the headspace where I'm confident enough that I can make these phone calls, but I just haven't been able to lock in yet. And I think that is also putting the brakes on any sort of admission here for me. But it's hard because part of the reason I want an admission is because I can't make phone calls and I'm scared of doing other basic things in life. but it's hard when you got to do those things that you're scared of just to get the admission. Like it doesn't. Oh, I don't know. It's hard. This whole thing is this mental health game. I'm telling you, I'm sick of it. I'm over it. I just want to get back into some sort of positive headspace and just move on. I don't know. It's not move on from mental health completely. Don't get me wrong. I'm staying in mental health for the long haul in the sense that, the advocacy, the research, the speaking, the podcasting, everything I'm doing. But as a consumer of mental health services, I really want to get to a position where that does not have to happen anymore. All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening. I will say again, those letters are quite confronting at times, and there's good reason for that. Like, we're not mincing words here, and there's no making things up. Like, this is all legit. But trust me, I have no thoughts of doing any harm to myself or other people. I don't. I'm just flabbergasted that that's what seems to be what you have to do to get your leg in the door nowadays. That's the point that I'm making. I'm not going to be doing that sort of stuff. And if I was to completely blow up and let the BPD demon run wild, that would be. Or it's happened before. It's all the efforts put towards myself. It's not other people. With my BPD, BPD is very classic. I've got to finish this episode. BPD is classic, or is known as a disorder that not only affects the individual who's got it, but also the people around them. Now, with me, mostly that has concentrated on girlfriends when the blow-ups have happened, girlfriends and family members, but the blow-ups weren't at the girlfriends per se, or the family members. It was at life and myself and how hard it is, and I'm over it, and and I just can't stand this anymore. The pressure builds, but it's all like me stuff. It's not, I don't externalize any sorts of behaviors like that, and I never have, and it's just not part of my makeup. It's not going to happen. If it was going to happen, it would have happened already. I've been pushed to the brink before. This isn't the first time. But yeah, so I hope me repeating this again doesn't sound like I'm trying to cover myself, but again, it's confronting. But yeah, there is no way. I deserve help, and I want to show the people around me how good we can be if things are going great. There's no anger externally. There's no even anger to the system for sure. Definitely anger towards the system, 100%. Like, if the system was a person, watch out. But it's not. It's not. It's not. So anger towards the system, not towards the self or others, and not towards the self because of the work that I've done in therapy, which is pretty cool. Like, that is one good thing that I've taken away from this whole process that is still ongoing, is the fact that I have advocated pretty well for the self, and that's pretty cool because that means, I'm buddies with myself again, and that's great. That is great. All right, thank you everybody for listening. I hope you're enjoying the show. The last couple of episodes have been very focused on this need and this effort to get back in a hospital, to get off the medications. The next episode that I'm going to do will be of a different topic, I promise. I'm thinking maybe another DBT skill, or I'm thinking maybe doing an episode on one of these disorders, but we'll see. I'm going to keep that a little secret for now, and I haven't figured it out. But yeah, I'll let you know because there'll be a new episode coming soon. But yes, it won't be about this topic. I'll give it a rest for a little bit, unless something happens. Hopefully the next the next episode is me from Bloomfield saying, guess what, guys? I'm in. I smuggled in a microphone and a recorder, and I'm in. How good's this? All right, thanks for listening. Appreciate it. I really do. I'll see you here next time on the show. And just a reminder, you can now follow the show on Facebook. There's not much content on there yet, but there's going to be. So yes, the Dysregulated Podcast on Facebook. Check it out. It's going to be great. All right. Thanks, guys. See you later. Have a good one.